Should adults be allowed to play in playgrounds? That is the topic of discussion in today's video. One of the more important topics I've talked about in my bedroom, that is for sure. Now, the reason I bring this up is because I love using playgrounds to do workouts in, and I know a lot of other people in Wellington do. It's a great way to get fit, to exercise, to be outside. You can make use of the bars for chin-ups and pull-ups and all sorts of things. So today it was a beautiful day in the capital city of Wellington. We have about 3 of those a year, and I thought I'm going to make the most of it. I'm going to go do a workout. So if you're familiar with Wellington, I headed up to the playground beside the Mount Vic tunnel for where the buses go through. Really good playgrounds for doing calisthenics, bodyweight movement. And in this particular case, I was doing some push-ups on the floor and doing some chin-ups. There were some kids around. There was a couple of other guys using the playground for the same reason I was. And it was all tickety-boo. And I was about to do some chin-ups, and one of the parents came over and said, "Hey, you know this is a kids' playground?" And I was actually quite taken aback. I'm thinking, oh, I must have missed the sign. In my head, I sort of knew where the conversation was going to go, but I was like, I'm just going to hear this guy out. So we sort of had a discussion, and he was just a bit put out by the fact that us adults were using a kid's playground to exercise. And I sort of said to him in the most genuine way, I wasn't being a smart ass, I just said, well, I think it is quite a good dynamic that the kids can learn stuff from us and we can learn stuff from the kids. It creates a nice dynamic where everybody's sort of learning movement from each other. And he was perfectly amicable about the whole situation. In the end, he sort of just backed off and let me do my thing. And there were kids playing in the playgrounds, and there was us adults doing adult bodyweight exercises, all in unison, and it was great. And he ended up going off and telling the boys on the basketball court to leave so that his kid could play on the basketball court. Anyway, I had to laugh. But he raised a really good point. Or at least he raised an interesting social dynamic where a lot of us perhaps feel afraid to play on the playgrounds when we reach a certain age, or perhaps society tells us that you can't go on a playgrounds unless you're sort of waist height or under. Who knows? But I think a playground is such a cool environment as adults. Like, I love playing on playgrounds, the swings and the bars. I think it's great fun. Just like adults enjoy mini golf or other child activities, I think a playground should be a place for everybody to enjoy exercise or movement. Particularly in Wellington, we don't actually have a designated area to do our bodyweight movement, so this playground is the only option we have. And I personally don't think that we should not use a playground because society deems it as only a place for kids to play. Now, I totally understand that it's an essential part of kids' development to use the playgrounds, and if there's adults using the playgrounds, they may feel a little bit intimidated. But in all of my experiences, kids don't give a shit, really. They just love jumping about. Like, you'll be doing something on the floor, they'll run right past you, and they'll wave and smile and be like, oh, look what he's doing. And, the kids are curious creatures, and I think it's only really the adults that have a problem with it. And I mean, all of us dudes or girls or whoever's using the playgrounds, we're all happy to make space for the kids and, give them priority on things. So I'm just curious to know your opinion. This is an open discussion as to whether or not you think adults should be allowed to use playgrounds for movement, just like kids do. Or do we suddenly reach a stage where no longer should we use playgrounds? We should use it only if we're like 8 years or under. What do you guys think? This is an open discussion. I would love to hear your feedback.